Hopefully you liked them the first time. Okay, here are poems from that manuscript that was the finalist at the Yale Younger Poets. And it's entitled Adam and Eve in the 20th Century. Adam and Eve are people, like my late wife and me, and Mary is their innocent child. And obviously this is all symbolism. And I started writing these poems in the early 1980s. By the 1980s, I wondered what happened to the idealism of the late 1960s or early 1970s. I was 15 to 20 years old between 68 and 73, and I was idealistic and optimistic, but by 81, I became very pessimistic. And at that time, I was reading Milton's Paradise Lost for a class in Milton. And that gave me the idea of Adam and Eve, not in paradise, but in the real 1980s I was living. I realized also the idea of original sin. So I realized that we humans are not and can't be perfect. And that's kind of the original sin. And even though we had that, I still hope, I hope then, I hope now, that people will at least work harder for a better world for everyone. But let's keep hoping. So here's the intro to the first poem. It's from, again, going back to Adam and Eve. Genesis 3:19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. Work. Like a hungry wren, hunting for food and warmth in a cold, snow-filled woods, Adam must work extremely hard or else. He begins his day before the sun and often continues working through nights longer than a night. He must leave his warm bed and warm wife at 4 a.m. Sunday through Sunday. At 4 a.m., it's cold even in Anaheim. Wretchedly, he wrenches himself away from his womb-like bed and emerges into the world. Often, he ponders his life's precariousness. Of course, this has brought many insights. When younger, they frightened him. He'd then bellyache like a baby. Because he's now an adult, he's able to leave peace and warmth with less distraction. Because he isn't an Ubermensch, he isn't completely resigned to hunger, cold, or any of life's unheavenly realities. Frantic phobias are subdued through his ignoring them and not letting himself be bothered by them. To him, that's mature and wise. Of course, he isn't always mature or wise. However, he's rarely hysterical. Still, he likes his warm, womb-like bed much more than the cold, snow-filled woods of the world. Green. Cars roar from a nearby street. It's a little past rush hour. Not all the people driving by are returning home weary from work, but they are all in a great hurry. Adam isn't speculating on the people in each car's story. His only concern is his happiness with not having to outrace and outfight the full streets. Even he are truant from work today, sitting in sequestered green grass, green leaf, sun park, watching the sky slowly light from a bright blue to a rich red. Adam turns to Eve and says, "Your apple white and red smile, and your apple white and green eyes fill my days in me with great peace, joy, and love." Eve replies, "We aren't always full of peace or joy. Of course, we are always full of love, aren't we?" "Yeah, we're full of it. What I mean is, yes, I love you very much, Adam says softly. Eve smiles. Her cheeks grow redly like the slowly setting sun. And this poem was published in Wine and Punishment, and so it's hopefully humorous. A night out. Adam and Eve decide to go dancing and drinking. They believe that would be a friendly way to forget the freezing routine. The idea pleases Eve especially because she dances gracefully like a gull gliding far above a frozen lake. Adam thinks he's an okay dancer, but he dances like a person on a frozen lake for the first time. It's late, and Adam has been drinking too heavily. He's soaked out of his ice skates. His thoughts are now as uncoordinated as his dancing. Eve had only a couple of drinks, therefore her thoughts and feelings flow as gracefully as her dancing body. During his final dance, Adam decides to demonstrate his virtuosity and adds a few spins. He suddenly notices that although he stopped spinning, the room hasn't. He tries to skate to the men's room, and after a few falls, makes it. Eve shakes her head. What an idiot, she sighs to herself. Eventually, idiot Adam emerges from the hot and cold waters of nausea and staggers away from the jaws of the John. Eve casts a reproachful look at him. Her expression is a mother's about to tell her willful child, I told you so. Yet, after her reproachful look, she shows her mother's concern. She pulls him away from his alluring but unsafe frozen lake of folly. With both a strong, supportive arm and shoulder, she guides him semi-steadily out of the bar and into their car. Once home, she serves him tea. Afterwards, she tucks him safely into bed. Before she gets into bed, she looks at him lovingly and says, what a jerk. Wait till he wakes up tomorrow. Bye. Okay. Now, speaking of Milton, his Paradise Lost was written in blank verse, and this poem is too. You can see where I connect, especially with Milton in this one. Chiaroscuro. The city seems asleep. He kisses Eve and says that they should take a drive up to the foothills. Adam often dreams of days and ways that were. He grew up with thick woods all around, yet moved 5 years ago to this too populated and polluted city. While standing up, they turn toward the window. The moon's light drenches the apartment house. The moon's light drenches the apartment roofs surrounding their block-long apartment house. Tonight, the foothills must be sparkling like large, dark jewels, Eve smiles. Yes, I'm in the mood for taking an aesthetic country walk below the moon. It's a warm winter night in Southern California. Adam closes the drapes and gets his keys. He locks their door, and they're soon riding on the freeway. Eve begins a conversation by saying, there aren't too many people nowadays who think like us, Adam. She pauses, then says, it's too bad that on this bright, warm night, most people are at home in front of screens. Adam replies with, many people are afraid to step outside their door. The ones who aren't go to some crowded public place. I'm glad you liked when we walked through the foothills. The air is still chaste, and the quiet there really relaxes me. I love the interplay of light and shade up in that great space. With the moon bright like this, it's magical. Emotions seem conjured by Pan's unpredictable spells. The only thoughts that trouble me are thoughts of meeting an angry snake or human. Old nature and old fate are always factors that are disturbingly inconstant. They can bless or they can kill. Well, I hope we'll enjoy an Epicurean evening. Soon, they're both silent like the ride. They leave the freeway, rolling up Old Country Road. They drive up it until it's dead end. They then park their car on the deserted street. Before them, east is a wide, weedy plain. To the near right are fine suburban homes. Near left are aromatic orange groves. In the far southeast is a gully with a fair-sized creek and eucalyptus trees. To the northeast is where they want to walk. There wanders a dirt road beneath homes that resemble palaces. Unlike those small one-story houses in the flats, these standing here soar 3 stories high. They have bay windows and pseudo-spires. They're all built too closely together in the typical way that it's done in Southern California. The dirt road inclines by slow degrees. Suddenly, a galaxy of city lights ascends into the startled viewer's vision. Near that point lies a small hill. Adam and Eve intend to climb it. They process along the dirt road like 2 muses on Parnassus. The point at which the city lights leap into view is their first stop. Adam looks up to the pseudo-spires, then farther on toward the Bister light that shines through the smog-filled flats. He soon looks up at the full moon. Eve takes a breath of the wind's orange blossom perfume. There's a strong east wind that pushes through the coastal sage scrub plain. Oak limbs groan like arthritic bones. He turns to the small hill. He sees a large back of a taller hill beyond it. That hill has short chaparral and spots where tall pine trees grow. There's a stretch of tiny verdant valley through those hills. The tiny verdant valley is very well protected and enclosed. In fact, there's not a single sign of human life around except the well-worn path that passes through an orange grove and lemon trees. This scene reminds Adam and Eve of other days. And this one's in Spenserian stanzas. Shelter from the elements. The indistinct gray sky merged with cloud-topped, right next by mountain peaks. Rotund snowflakes as softly as soft young dove feathers dropped. While Adam walked around his camper, cakes of snow collected on his boots. He turned, saw Eve and Mary starting to climb out, then exhaled mist. He checked what fires burned. He listened. Silence. Almost thought about, when suddenly he heard Mary, like larks at dawn, shout. Eve called, "It's much too cold. Let's build a fire." What Adam wanted was to take a walk, but said okay. He spied some wrens soar higher and witnessed dark clouds, like dark angels, soar higher. He spied some wrens soar higher and witnessed dark clouds like dark angels stalk the conquered sky. That was why he was in the mountains bright and early. Saturday was merely 30 minutes past matching. It'd been 5 years since Adam got to play in snow. 5 years since he'd last seen a wood's white gray. Impatient, Eve warned, Adam, hurry up and make that fire. Mary might not be too safe in the snow. Adam agreed. Yep, you're right. Still, if you don't stay out too long, she shouldn't have any problem. If you'd build a fire, that'd help, Eve pressed. Go back inside the camper, Adam laughed, walked back, then filled his arms with wood he'd brought. He'd guessed, with pride, the wood here would be wet. An hour later, everything was ready. Eve and small Mary stood before, I'm sorry. The wood here would be wet. Glad eyes watched fat flakes glide. An hour later, everything was ready. Eve and small Mary stood before tall flames. The toddler Mary had to be held steady and watched so that her lost and wondered flames were harmless. Actually, Mary was far too overguarded, but she didn't mind. She loved attention and being a star. Adam looked up. The snow-filled sky was lined with mountain peaks. This is the best way to unwind, he breathed. Yeah, and catch pneumonia, death, or worse, Eve added. Adam asked, come on, where's your romantic love of nature? Just in verse? Record that carmine cardinal. It's pure, rich red. And those blue jays in that pine, more insouciantly blue than a blue sky. And that white rabbit by our neighbor's door. And the sublimity of the nearby white peaks. They sure invite thoughts, feelings, and the eye. Eve pointed out to Happy Adam that those animals are probably near starved and freezing to death. Like a diplomat against all life, the wicked wind can carve its way into the blood and make it hard, as steadfast as death. Adam seconded this. Then he reminded Eve, not all shall starve. She sang, yes, you're right. There's pain, there's bliss, and everything between. Like love. Give me a kiss.
You look like there's no law enforcement in here right now because disrupting Spencerian rhythm is actually illegal in these parts. So,
I'm sorry, I'm a little hard of hearing.
I was just saying that disrupting Spencerian format is illegal in these parts.
Yes.
You know, I was just making a joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
I forgot my hearing aid.
I'll explain it later.
I used to joke before I had my hearing aids that just yell into the horn. Yeah, it's old age catches up with you. Okay, this will be the last one, till the encore. Okay, Adam, late at night, drinking beer and listening to music with his and Eve's mutual friend, who had just separated from his wife and was unscrolling all the flaws she had that brought that about. It made Adam think of Eve. He realized he often would complain about this or that little thing he wished she would do. Then her guardian angel flew to him and slapped him upside his head. That rattled his adult thoughts and feelings into a reality he hadn't seen before. He thought about his failing vision, and it made him see other ways he had failed to see her love and goodness in its entirety. His own better angel had him take paper and pen to unscroll what he hadn't seen even with formerly perfect vision. Better than perfect vision. Wife, mother, lover, worker, lady, friend, you're older, grayer, bones crack when you bend. Yet somehow now you're lovelier to me. It's true, my eyes aren't what they used to be, but perfect vision never let me see those daily deeds of love that never end. Wife, mother, lover, worker, lady, friend.